All right, guys, here we are, 11:30, and got into this a little bit earlier than I thought I could. 3 in chapter 6, your bone. And look on 193, down at the bottom of the first column, you see module 6.3, 6.3, and we're looking at ossification. Now, another term for that, as you see at the bottom, is osteogenesis. You know, genesis means that you make something, you create something, and osteo, of course, tells you it's a bone. So anyway, ossification, osteogenesis, they're endochondral. And so I tried to describe that to you in the Word document. Now we're talking about it again. Intramembranous ossification occurs in sternum and your skull cap up here, the parietal and the temporal and the frontal and the occipital and so forth. And so those are made by intramembranous ossification. So you get this marrow sandwich between two layers of bone. And I hope that video that I attached to your D2L section will help you understand what's going on. We've covered it enough, but if you have questions, you know my email address, and so you can bring that question to me, and I'll try to answer out of the page. And I want you to read that because osteoporosis is a fact. My wife's got that. I don't know if I've got any of it, but they've got her on some medication to try and build up the bone density. You do want it to become porous because when it does, that means you can break things more easily. So anyway, you can read about that, and they'll talk about things you can do to help keep your skeleton in good shape. And as you read through that, you'll find that, and we'll go over this again, it'll talk about how you need calcium and you need vitamin D and so forth. And then you come on down, you have a good diet. So a number of things. Exercise is good. Of course, if you can't exercise for some reason, then bone density begins to diminish. So it's good if you keep yourself in good shape so that you can last 80 or 90 years and be productive and enjoy the life we have. Anyway, let's look at the second column on page 194, and we're looking at the endochondral ossification. Now, when you see endo, you think inside, and chondral, chondrocyte. That's a root word for cartilage cell. So we're talking about the ossification of our hyaline cartilage model that we develop. We use that term, we develop. These cells do it all on their own. They don't need any guidance from you or me. But they make that cartilage model of fingers and these, what we would call these long bones because they're longer than they are wide. And it begins to change the cartilage into to bone. Now, we're not going to get into a lot of heavy stuff with this, but I want you to understand some things because it's going to be very practical when you understand some of these things. As you look on page 196, you come at endochondral. Of course, that means the cartilage. And you come down in that about 6 lines. You look to the ossification begins with the primary ossification center. So what we're going to do is you look below, and you will see this, of course, little blue model, and you notice right in the center of the diaphysis, a primary ossification, ossify, all those words meaning very similar um, definitions, going to turn that cartilage into bone. And so that ossification center, if you can imagine, starts here, and it begins with the bone and turn all that cartilage into bone. And if you look closely,